Okay, so let's dive straight into this, Phil. You obviously know what it's like to stand in front of thousands of people and lead worship, but of course, suddenly here you are playing David, arguably the most famous worship leader in history. Was there a moment where you thought, oh my gosh, hang on a second, I'm actually doing this?
Oh yeah, the whole time through. And sometimes that elicited fear and other times just joy. But it was so much fun. I think once I got through the audition process, because they called me, they asked if I would see if I could even do it. And I had to do it 3 or 4 times where I was just trying out for the part. And so they really took time to make sure I was right. And so I trusted them because I told them, hey, you guys, if I'm not the right guy for the job, please tell me because I don't want to be bad in your movie and you don't want me to be bad in your movie. And so once they said, you know what, we think we love you as David, let's go for it. That got all the fear out of the way so I could really just enjoy it and just bring this character to life. And it was a very, very fun experience.
That's so good to hear. Yeah, it must have felt a bit scary at first, but once you got into it, you kind of got into your groove.
That's 100%. Yeah, you just the more I would do of David, the more I would understand kind of who we were making him to be. And I hope one day when if I meet David in heaven or something that he'll say, yeah, good job, you got this right.
Yeah, fab. I'm sure. Well, I can see that you've definitely done a good job, and you've definitely honoured him there. So yeah, David is he's a really interesting biblical character because he's not just the kid who defeats Goliath. He's also a shepherd. He's a musician. He's a warrior. He's a fugitive, and of course, eventually a king. But ultimately, deeply flawed, as are all humans. So, what part of David did you discover through making the movie that you hadn't really appreciated before?
Well, I think I definitely knew this already, but rereading the story of David on my own and then just bringing David to life and the moments that were a challenge to act in, the parts that were extra emotional or things that maybe I couldn't immediately relate to, like, cutting a Goliath, a giant's head off or running for my life from someone I loved, all that stuff. Once I put it into real world situations in my mind, it just started flowing out. And the more I did that, the more I realized, yeah, sometimes we can myth a lot, almost like put these characters in mythology in our minds. We hear about David and Goliath so much in pop culture, it's almost become a metaphor for something else. But then to remember that this is just a guy, he's just a man and was just a boy, and probably experienced a lot of fear. But his trust in his God superseded that fear. He experienced a lot of sorrow, he experienced joy, but the whole time, like, he was just a guy. And I think that for me, telling myself that, like, this wasn't a superhero, wasn't a Superman. He wasn't born with more ability to trust or have faith than anybody else. He was just a guy who trusted God and knew who his God was. And so that helped him, stand against giants and stay righteous and stay choosing usually a good path. But like you said, he was full of failures too. And I think being reminded, like reading those stories again and be reminded that he was a man who made failures and made mistakes and did great things too. It really helped me step into his shoes because that's exactly what I am. I'm just a guy. And sometimes I choose the right way, sometimes I choose the wrong way. But I do have a trust in God. And I love connecting with God through songs and through music, which I know David did too. So I use these relating points to really hopefully bring this character to life in a way that I really believed that this was really taking place. This was true. And I hope people feel that it's true as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That definitely comes across. And I often find when you see films and shows that really bring biblical stories to life, it does kind of remind us that they're just people. They were just people, just like you and me, and it kind of helps you to kind of hold on to their humanity and be inspired by their stories, right?
Right. And on the flip side, this is a story about David and Goliath for sure, but ultimately this is a story about God and that he's a God that you can trust in and you can believe in and that you can count on. And that I think those are beautiful things uh to show in this movie, that there's things to hope in that won't fail you, that there's things to hope in that are bigger than governments or people or systems. And I really love the joy and the hope in that as well. And
Mm.
so I think the people that made this movie really, really love the source material, and you can tell. And and the way it brings the story to life is unlike anything I've seen before, and I'm so proud to be a part of it.
Yeah, amazing. Thank you, Phil. That was epic. Thank you so much for your time. It was great to speak to you.
Thank you so much for having me.
Ladies and gentlemen, you're watching Hey You Guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!
Hey, that's what they all say.
Hey, you guys!
Hey, you guys!